We are on the third day of the Menopause Makeover Challenge, and welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're catching this on the replay, please put any questions, comments, suggestions, whatever in the comment below and tag me in it so that I can see it and reply. And if you're live, use the chat box. We're going to go into a meditation today. I'm going to lead you through something that I find very, very powerful. So hang on to that, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about lifestyle habits. There's a great quote. It says, you don't choose your future, you choose your habits, and your habits choose your future. And how true is that? Like, that's completely amazingly true. And Ayurveda, the ancient wisdom of India that translates roughly to the science of life, says that there is a daily routine that when we follow it, we thrive. And it's spelled out. And I'm going to share that too today. So these habits that I've been teaching for, I think since 2011, when they're done regularly, at least for the most part, it's a game changer. It creates this platform for your life to unfold in a better way. There's a gal, Kate Stillman, I think is her name, and she talks about these being keystone habits. When you do a habit, for example, we know that if we work out regularly, it encourages us. It's like this unconscious thing that has us eat better. When we eat a lighter, earlier dinner, for example, the body can downregulate and be prepared and ready for a better sleep, a more sound sleep. And so all of the habits that I'm going to go over today will help a lot of the things that you struggle with, and that they just kind of dissolve. They remedy themselves by themselves. And so they're super stunning and they're super easy. And inevitably, when I introduce this for the first time, folks will go, "Oh my God, I don't have time to do this. I don't have the bandwidth in my life to do these things." Well, my answer is do what you can and leave the rest. Don't worry about it. And my experience when I work with clients is that when they do start to implement these habits, they find all of this space and time in their life because they're not spinning the wheels. They're not in a space of distraction. It lays the foundation for your life to just kind of be structured, and there's more time. So my suggestion is to start to implement as many of these things as you can without overwhelm, of course. And you can add more as time goes on and see how it goes. See what starts to unfold and change in your life. So let me share my screen here because I like the idea of having a visual for this. Where is my share screen? Oh, it's the green button. All right, let me find this here. Bear with me. Oh no. Is this going to let me do this? Oh, dang it. Technical difficulties. And I know you do this stuff for a living because you're a professor.
It's inevitable that the technology doesn't cooperate.
It's so true. It's so true. I probably can tell you off the top of my head without sharing a screen and showing you this, but I just really love the visual. So like it kind of sinks in better. So let me see what I'm going to do. Well, okay. I'm just going to rock and roll here. It won't let me do this. All right. So I'm just going to go over the habits, the daily routine, detailed and outlined by Ayurveda. So we want to wake up ideally as the sun rises. So, and as we start to bring these routines in, the body starts to orchestrate itself and align itself with the natural rhythms of nature. So, for example, now I wake up naturally as the sun is starting to peek into the horizon, right? So wake up early. That varies depending on the time of year. Big glass of water. The water helps to wake up the brain. It's one of the substances that crosses the blood-brain barrier and hydrates the brain, and then the brain is awake. One of the worst things you can do is wake up, reach over and grab your cell phone and start scrolling and checking your email and stuff. Don't do that. It disturbs the mind. It has your air and space element get wonky, and you want to settle into self as you're waking and give yourself time to really get the body moving before you start to stress the mind out. And then we clean our mouth. We tongue scrape, brush and floss the teeth. We talked about oil pulling yesterday. It helps to remove toxic substances and excess bacteria in the mouth and all the tissues around the mouth. We put a half teaspoon of coconut oil in our mouth and swish, 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 swish. If the water has facilitated a bowel movement, awesome. What I find is people who implement this daily routine, their bowel movements are like clockwork over time, and it begins to get better and better and better and predictable. And when it becomes a little bit off, we can go, okay, something is amiss, and we can figure out what it is, and we stay in that balanced space rather than letting our digestion get way off track. So after we do our oral hygiene and drink our water and have our bowel movement, we want to do something for our bodies. So some movement practice, a yoga asana, some tai chi, qigong, if you go for a walk, whatever you prefer, something that's going to just stimulate your lymphatic flow, get you stretching, get you moving, getting your blood flowing, and waking up the body even more. After that, it's very fine to sit and just be still and listen to that internal guidance. In my mystic practice, I am a mystic, and I'm able to help people see some of the shadow stuff in their lives and help to root out that kind of thing. I recognize that taking the moments to just ask a question and then listen for the answer and become more aligned, more in tune with that higher self, that higher vibration, that higher knowing, that God quality that is within each and every one of us. So some stillness is brilliant. If you have a tendency to have more of a monkey mind, and it's uber common, most of us know what that chatter's like. It's like blah, 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 like your brain is all over the place. I find it valuable to grab a journal. I get, the 5 subject spiral bound notebooks and just start writing without any attachment to what's going on the page. It's a brain drain. The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron, her Artist's Way program is amazing. And that's one of her keystone habits, putting those 3 pages down on paper and brain draining and releasing all the chatter helps to flush out what's really underneath all of that, because we can stay stuck in a loop, and the mind is such an amazing helper or hindrance to our well-being. We're going to dive into a meditation, because I believe that piece, our mental, what our thoughts are doing, makes or breaks our experience. And I feel like that is one of the most key habits that we can address, is what is the mind doing? What are we thinking about? What are we spending most of our time dwelling on? So now you've moved, you've cleaned your your mouth, you've cleared your mind, and you're like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Now's a good time to have some breakfast, have something to eat, enough food to carry you into lunchtime. And again, yesterday we talked about how to eat. Make sure you're eating in a non-distracted way, chewing your food, being with your food, having reverence for your food, praying, or whatever practice you do to have some time to have gratitude for the food that's showing up for you. And then take your shower or your bath or whatever, and then get on with your day. At noontime, it's a matter of taking the time, clearing out your space to have a nice meal. Noon is midday. It's when the sun is highest in the sky, and we are part of nature. So it's when we have the highest heat in our body and our greatest capacity to digest food. So it is the optimum time to have the largest meal of the day. Have a satisfying meal that will carry you into dinner. If you're going to have, my favorite food is pizza. So if I'm going to eat pizza, the best time to eat pizza is at noon on any given day, and not too much of it or too frequently. So then, just make sure you give yourself the time and have the reverence and the gratitude for your food and spend time with your food. It's a great idea to move your body again after you eat at noontime, just to help to facilitate some digestion and get any stagnation out of your body. I know that a lot of us spend a lot of time sitting. If we're still working in a desk job, it's ideal to go out and go for a walk or do something for your body. And then in the evening, a light early dinner. It's said that lunch you should eat like a queen, and at breakfast you should eat like a knight. I'm trying to make it feminine here. And then at dinner you eat like a pauper, just soup or something very light, enough to carry you through the rest of the evening through into breakfast the next morning. Intermittent fasting, I think, came from this process. The idea of giving your digestion a break, and we're going to get into digestion even more tomorrow, from say like 6 p.m. until 7 or 8 a.m. allows the body to clear, allows the channels to clear, both the digestive channels and the more subtler channels of digestion in your tissues and cells. And we don't get congested and we don't get gummed up, and our body works much better. After dinner, another awesome time to move the body a little bit and do something that gives you amazing joy. Spend time with loved ones. If you're longing to do some art or whatever, read something inspirational, something completely lovely. Whatever that is, whatever feeds your soul, it's a good idea to plug that in the evening. What isn't a good idea is spending time in front of the screen. One of the reasons why I chose to do this challenge in the day, often I do stuff in the evening and it's incongruent with the teachings. Screen time aggravates the air and space elements in the body, and it can create anxiety, and it can certainly inhibit your sleep. So taking some time, if you need to watch something or you're doing some Netflix work, do that earlier rather than later, so that you have some space between screen time and bedtime, ideally giving yourself at least a couple of hours before sleep. And then your sleep routine, if you struggle at all with insomnia, it's a good idea to dial in this particular routine. am friends with a man that is in charge of keeping the Pittsburgh Penguins healthy. And they've got a grueling schedule. I think in like 120-day season, there it's hockey. So hockey players get the crap beat out of them, right? And during their season, you know, the 120-day season, they might have like 108 games. So they have to repair their body vigorously so that they don't break down. And sleep is a huge piece. So I picked his brain about their particular sleep routine to really help rejuvenation. And God knows at the stage of menopause, we need to make sure that we have as much rejuvenation as we can. So here it is. After their game, they dunk them in ice water. We don't have to do that. But then they make sure that they're fed well, high density foods, things that have lots and lots of nutrients in it. The most high density foods for us is probably vegetables. But that's going to vary based on our activity level and our constitution and all that stuff. But for bed, they have the room temperature a little cooler than what is comfortable, maybe 1 or 2 degrees cooler than what's comfortable. And the athlete takes a shower, and then they oil themselves. This is an Ayurvedic teaching too. When you oil your body, it helps to drop the nervous system down into a rest and digest situation. And so taking a shower and then lovingly putting a little, it's like a tablespoon of oil all over the body, emphasizing the scalp, the ears, and the feet. And then getting in the bed and just being still, praying, contemplating on some teaching or whatever process you do to just calm your body and calm your mind, and then just lay there, and soon enough you'll fall asleep. I had a client, she was only 19 years old, and she had been struggling with some pretty severe trauma in her teen years, and it had haunted her enough that she had really bad insomnia. And so I coached her on just a couple of things to try. And one of them was oiling her feet. And the next week when she came back, she was amazed at how well she was sleeping. The feet are, I'm in love with footwork because it affects everything. But try it. Put a little oil on your feet and just massage your feet. If you don't want any oil on your sheets, you can always throw socks on. And then go to sleep and see what that does for your sleep and your well-being. It's huge. All of these habits are huge. You know, if we're having trouble sleeping, we want to make sure that we're looking at our dinner time. We kind of reverse engineer it. Are we eating too late? Are we eating too much? Are we eating things that cause heartburn, for example? And, you know, just look at the entire day and see where you might not be in alignment with the natural rhythms. So that is Dinacharya, daily routine. Dinacharya is Sanskrit for daily routine. In a nutshell. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. But I do want to dive into the habit of thinking, because to me, that is so fundamental, so primary. You can do all of this external stuff, all of the daily routine I just outlined, but if your mind is dwelling on negativity or victimhood or, you know, something that you don't want, then you're going to continue to struggle. It's just, there's no other way about it. Whatever you focus on is what is going to expand. So shifting yourself into a space of focusing on what you do want or the positive has an enormous effect on your well-being. Enormous, like it's immediate. Let's see, what do we got there? What kind of oil? Oh, yes, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. The recommended oil is sesame oil, not the stuff that has been toasted for cooking, but raw sesame oil. Organic is best, of course. And then if you wanted to put a couple drops of essential oil in it, we know that lavender helps to calm the nervous system and drop you down, but you can do a little bit of Google searching to see what essential oils, not necessary, of course, it's completely optional, but what essential oil will serve you well. I know sandalwood is one of my good oils. It helps to calm my fire. I have a tendency to have high fire. And so a couple of drops of sandalwood oil in my sesame oil and slather it all over and just really lovingly putting it on helps a lot, like a ton. So really excellent question. Thank you for asking. Okay. So let's practice getting into a headspace where we are really optimized, where it's a practice that I love to lead because it brings us into our most glorious self and we get to see who we truly are underneath all this stuff, right? I can't count the number of people that are affected by past traumas, whether it's in this lifetime or a past life. And it prevents them from weeding through all of the stuff to get to their essential self. And that's a shame because all of us, we're souls having a human experience. And when we can connect with that higher being, that higher presence, man, life changes. It's amazing. You might have exactly the same circumstances around you, but the lens that you're looking through has been polished and cleared, and you see it for what it is. And it's very much elevated. When I do lead this practice, inevitably, someone is going to have a difficult time tapping into their essential self, their higher self. And that's okay. It's a practice and it takes time. And if you are having difficulty, it's pretty important to get support to get there. And through the mystic practices that I do, I can get through I can get through that barrier and really help you flush that out. So don't struggle and don't suffer. It's so amazingly worth getting in touch with your essential self. It's such a beautiful practice and you're going to see it in just a moment. So let's settle into wherever we are and just get as relaxed as you can and close your eyes. And just start to focus on your breath and allow the breath to slow down and deepen. And I mean going deeper into the body, lower into the lobes of the lungs. Make sure you're breathing through your nostrils if that's available to you. Nostril breathing is another key habit that changes so much about your nervous system. How you breathe matters. And just scan the body. Notice where you're holding tension and then give yourself permission to let it go. Just do the best that you can. Keep dropping into a more and more relaxed state. Now, go back in time and recall a time, just a snapshot. It doesn't have to be a long time. It could just be a moment when everything was right with the world. And the earlier you can go back, the better. Recall that time. There's probably several times. And if you can't recall a time, you can always make something up. As I lead you through this process, just make it up. It'll still work. For me, one of my times was I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was outside after a rainstorm making a mud pie. I was all by myself, just sitting in the wet grass and playing in the mud. Just as happy as I could be. So as you recall this time, I want you to bring up as much detail as you can, using all of your sensory perception. So what could you see? What was around you? What was around you near, and what was around you far, far away? And flesh out as much detail as you can. Was there any smells associated with this memory? For me, that after rain smell was very, very vivid. What was your experience? What could you hear? If you were outside, could you hear nature sounds? Or if you were inside, could you hear, for example, laughter? Were there any tastes associated with this memory? Maybe the tastes were subtle, maybe they were very evident. And finally, were there any sensations associated with the memory? You know, the sensation of a hug, or for me, the cool air of the humid, fresh air after the rain, or a soft breeze blowing across your skin. Bring that up as much as you can and just really be in that moment. Now, we're going to come up with a word that comes forth as you are being in that moment. For me, for my memory, my word was freedom. I felt free. Free. That word is going to have a high quality, a high vibration. Love, peace, freedom, joy. What is that word? What shows up for you? Safety. What is the word? Now, we're going to take that word and put I am in front of it. Staying in that memory, feeling the experience. I am free. Whatever your word is. Allow it to have a mantra quality, affirmation. I am. love. I am peace. I am whole. I am free. I am joy. And just allow yourself to have that experience and that word infuse every single cell in your body. Continue to repeat, I am peace. I am free. And say it like you mean it. I am free. Feel it. Let the vibration infuse you. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Breathe it in. And then just take a couple more breaths, really infusing and ingraining that I am statement, that glorious high self-awareness, right? And when you're ready, you can flutter your eyes open. How does that feel? You can unmute yourself and share if you want, or you can put it in the chat. I'd love to hear if you got it. If it's like, oh gosh, I see, like I can feel and I have that vibration of my higher self just coursing through my veins. Tomorrow, I am going to be going over digestion and not what you think. I mean, some of it will be what you think, but we're going to dive into some really, really important stuff, practical stuff. When the body's digesting on a cellular level in an optimum way, your life is better. Like everything works better. Our all of our chemicals that are supposed to be present are. And then Friday, we're going to go into the final key, which is stress. How do you navigate stress? There's a lot of science around it, and we're going to get into that as well. And it's really going to be a powerful, powerful practice that I'll be sharing with you on Friday. But yeah, I would love, okay, here we got wonderful experience. Thank you. Also, please resend the Facebook link to our private group. I cannot open it. Weird. Okay.
That's me, Kat. I tried to open it from the first email you sent and it just doesn't open. And you've put some things in there I just wanted to go back and re-link with. So
Yeah. I don't think Mercury's in retrograde or anything, but I've had some situations with links lately. So yeah, thank you for telling me. I will totally.
Sure. Thank you. That was an awesome experience.
Yeah.
But okay. She can't get in either. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. It's what's the name of it? 5 Keys to a Stress-Free Menopause is the name of the Facebook group. So if you search it, you can request to join. I can get you in there that way. So there's a couple ways to get in. I'll resend the link too. So with this practice that I just led you through, can you go back to that moment right now? Good. Spend the rest of your day as it occurs to you going back to that space and feeling into that glorious, that's soul level stuff, right? You know that who you are is not all the chatter and the distractions and the this and that and the exterior world. It's an internal experience. And I just finished a group. We really dove into the ethereal body and went deep, but over and over and over again, the reminder was to stay embodied, because you felt that in your body. And we want to navigate our life experience from the inside out. In other words, here's another metaphor for it. We can be the eye of the hurricane and watch the shit show and just be really calm and stable, right? so amazing when you can do that. And it has a ripple effect. You know, we're, as a woman that's not mensing anymore, we're considered the crones. We're the wise women. We're the ones that can really shift, literally, we can literally shift our soul lineage, our ancestral lineage, forward and backward. When we shift, it affects our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers and on and on and on. It also affects our daughters and our granddaughters and on and on and on. I've got goosebumps. I've watched it happen with clients and their families. When the matriarch shifts into this stable, calm, abiding, the whole family changes. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. It's the most satisfying work that I do. So yeah, please let me know how this is landing for you. If you're getting this on the replay, it's amazing. Can I say that again? Anyway, thank you so much for showing up today. I will see you tomorrow, and I have so much gratitude for you. Peace, peace,
Thank
peace.
you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thanks.